Joe, just what's the latest update on John and his back and whether or not he'll be available to play today?
He will not be available to play today.
And do you kind of follow a similar, setup with Zeller and Maker in his absence?
Yes, we've got the starters that we'll set out here in a little bit, but we're, as we've always said, each guy's got to be ready to go.
Good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
Abby Chin, NBC Sports Boston. I'm just curious, you've been in the NBA a while. How unique is this pretty short turnaround coming off the late game for Game 3 and then an early start here for Game 4?
That's, one of the things through the years, it's interesting when you do have these quick turnarounds, and there used to be the back-to-back game, the Saturday, Sunday, that was always, I remember doing that one year when I was in San Antonio playing against the Lakers. And the bottom line is everybody has to be ready, regardless of how the previous game goes, because it's coming. And so what happened in the last game will impact this just like it does from game to game within the series. But both teams went through it. Both teams have to be ready, have to be focused on what the task is at hand, and be ready to play. And it's not, like we've talked a lot about here, not easing yourself into the game. When you come into the game, whether you're starting, whether you're coming off the bench, be ready to go.
Morning, Joe. Hey, Chris is shooting 60% overall and from three. Just what's his start meant to this team so far this series? On both sides of the ball too.
Right. That's what I was going to say. Well, we need him to play well. We need him to be the player that he can be, and he's doing that. The one thing about Chris is he's effective in multiple situations, and he's getting the shots. He's shooting the shots that are quality for him. And when I say that, there might be situations where there's a defender in front of him, but he's created the space, or he has a size advantage to be able to shoot over them. Again, Chris's effectiveness on the offensive end comes from a lot of it from his versatility, obviously his skill set, but being able to handle the ball, being able to set screens, come off of screens, so he can be in multiple situations. On the defensive end, getting to the right spots, extremely intelligent, knows the system, knows tendencies of other players, so he's been very effective on both ends. I know people are going to talk a lot about the offense, but we need him to play well on both ends of the floor.
With Von the other night, was it just a matter of energy or focus, or has he learned maybe by watching a little bit here in the last month or so?
I think the biggest thing for Thon and any of us is, like we said, don't come in and ease yourself into a game. The energy and the effort were huge, and you could see it from the moment that he stepped onto the floor. He wasn't trying to impose anything, like come in there and force it. He was just playing the game, and he played it at a high level. We need that, and he wasn't the only one. Delhi did the same thing. Jabari did the same thing. They didn't all necessarily come in and just the first thing that everybody thought is, oh, they made shots, or they just played the right way with the right energy and took quality shots, whether they made them or not. And that's one of the things we talk about, is getting a quality possession every time down the floor. And on the defensive end, Thon's ability to impact the game was obvious with the blocks, but I think it's beyond that. It's like getting to the right spots, like we talked about with Chris. Maybe you're in the right spot, so it helps somebody else get to where they need to be, and now we get a steal or a deflection. And those things, it's contagious.
Hey, Joe. Al Horford, obviously such a big part of the Celtics, and you've seen him with other teams over the years. What a great vet he is. How tough is it for you to defend him, and especially maybe keep Giannis out of foul trouble while guarding him? Because he, as much as the Celtics concerned about Giannis, you got to really be concerned about Al too.
Sure. Well, we're concerned about a lot of things. They have multiple guys, going going into the series, 6 of the guys have averaged in double figures. So you have multiple guys that are capable of scoring the ball or impacting, you know, an offensive play with the things that they're capable of doing, whether it's driving it, whether it's making a three, kicking the ball out for somebody else. You know, Al in particular, he is capable of being on the perimeter and making threes, as he's done here a few times. He obviously gets down into the post and he you know, tries to go to work on the block. He's caught the ball on the elbows, and whether he's made a play for somebody else there, or, you know, sometimes he's just using a rocker series, meaning just jab, trying to create space or see if he can get an angle and score. But he's another guy that's a versatile player.